Hey everybody, Dana Yanch, Director of Technical Marketing at Elisity, and today I'm coming at you with a brief video highlighting some of the advancements we've made on the Elisity Cognitive Trust platform for our latest release of code 12.2. In this release of code, we focused heavily on the simplification of policy creation, making it easier for customers to get started with policy creation on our platform. Now, since the Elisity Cognitive Trust is always collecting and analyzing traffic flows running across your Elisity secured network, we're now able to propose a least privilege policy based upon the observed behavior. This allows us to avoid human error and take the guesswork out of understanding application behavior and policy creation. Let's get started. I'm going to show you some of those things in real time. Starting with the first advancement, traffic flow visualization. This is a graphical representation of how assets are talking to other assets or resources and destinations. Now, an asset could be an app, it could be a user, it could be a device, really anything that we are able to identify on the network that's communicating. So now that you have this visualization, you can allow for immediate attack surface reduction for these assets that don't need to communicate with each other or to those destinations or don't need to communicate at all. It also allows for us to understand application dependencies quickly. We no longer have to really understand or know how everything on the network is communicating with each other off the top of our head. We have the information at our disposal immediately. So check this out. This is the grid view that we build automatically based on the observed traffic flows over the last 30 days, as well as all the policies that are enacted, that are built in the system. So on the left side of the grid, you have the source policy groups where all your assets live, and then you have the destination policy groups, and the middle shows you the communication that's occurring between these different assets or policy groups. So a grid block that's not filled in that has this blue outline says that, okay, there's been no traffic observed over the last 30 days. However, the default policy allows that traffic to flow. If there's a shield inside that grid block, but no color, then that means that, okay, no traffic has been observed. However, there's a policy in place in case traffic does start to flow for that source and destination. Now, if there is a green block, that means there's traffic that's been observed. You can click that green block and it'll tell you all the different ports and protocols that have been observed for those traffic flows and the amount of traffic flows that we are able to observe. You can use that information to build policy or to visualize what's happening across your network. Now, if there is a shield there, that means there's a traffic flow that's been observed, plus there is a policy for that particular set of traffic flows. Now, if there's a red block, that means traffic flow has been observed, and since there's a shield, the traffic has been blocked. So it's really easy to see this in real time and just understand what's going on in your Elisity secured network in just seconds. Now, we also have really fantastic filtering. So you can go in here and do searches. So let's say I'm curious, well, what's happening between administrators and printers? Bam, we can see that, okay, there is a policy and there is traffic flow occurring. You can click it and see information there. Lastly, there's all sorts of filtering that we can do here. If you click the little filter button, you can filter on anything: user, app, device, group name, the status of policies that have been deployed or not deployed. It's pretty incredible how granular you can get in the filtering and search functionality of your policies and traffic flows. Now let's talk about automated policy creation and graphical policy visualization. These two kind of go hand in hand. Now that we have this traffic flow visualization functionality, we're able to take this information that's easily digestible and present it to the user in this grid format and build automated policies. Build these policies in a simple fashion, right? It's so we no longer have to figure out, well, who has to talk to who? How do I build this policy? What are the applications out there and how are they talking to everybody else? It's really simple when it's presented to you in this grid format. Now it's just a click of a button and policies are created for you. And what this allows us to do is reduce the scope for human error when you're creating these policies, whether they're simple or complex. It also helps customers, get their feet wet with least privilege policy creation. It's kind of new to a lot of people in the industry. Lastly, it helps policy administrators get stakeholder agreement when applying least privilege policies to critical business resources. This is key, right? It helps us get faster time to value. Here we are in the graphical policy view. As you can see, it's very similar to the traffic flow view where we have the same X and Y axis for the source and destination policy groups. We have the grid view, we have the blocks, and we have different colors signifying different things. Now, in this case, the block colors mean something different than the traffic flow blocks did. In this case, red means that all traffic is being blocked between that particular source and destination policy group. Orange means that specific layer 3 and layer 4 protocols and ports are being blocked, and blue means that specific layer 7 policies are being blocked between or allowed between those particular sources and destinations. Now, if a block is empty, that means there's no policy created for it. What if you wanted a policy created for, let's say, between sales and operators? So we hover over that block right there, you can click it, and bam, it automatically creates the source and destination groups for you. All the assets are already mapped to those different groups, and you just have to go in here and create your different rule sets. So it's pretty straightforward. You select the different protocols and ports, you pop them in there, and bam, they're either being allowed or denied between those different policy groups. It's just 2 seconds and you've created a policy for your different source and destinations. Pretty incredible. You can edit them from here. You can visualize, well, what's already been deployed. For example, I see that there's something between IP phones and contractors that's been blocked. If I click it, it looks like they're blocking all traffic between the contractors for this network and IP phones. They don't need access to the IP phones. Let's block it. So this view is pretty amazing, right? So we got a couple of use cases here. So it's intended to give an immediate understanding of how assets may or may not be able to communicate, how critical assets are being protected or are potentially exposed to threat vectors. You have that now at your disposal. You can also understand where policies could permit the lateral movement of threats. So this view, again, is intended to reduce time and effort in managing policies and help customers to reduce their attack surface for insider threats. Lastly, we're going to talk about the policy advancements we've made in 12.2. Now, Elisity has one of the most robust identity engines in the industry. We're able to identify everything and anything on your network, whether they're users, apps, or devices, managed or unmanaged, it doesn't matter, we can identify them. And we're able to present you inventory of them and all sorts of cool stuff that I'll show you here momentarily. But we're also very aware that policies need to support granularity. You have so many things out there, so many different types of traffic flows that we can't omit any of them. There has to be full flexibility. So now we can do micro-segmentation policies between devices or assets within the same policy group, or do simple policies like internet-based policies. So here you can see a summary of all the different things that we've detected dynamically on the network. IT devices, OT devices, IoT devices, even medical IoMT devices. We have the capability to dynamically detect pretty much anything on a network and give you these easily digestible formats to figure out what's on your network. So here we see these pie charts and we have all sorts of information. We can go down and see the details if you wanted, but I'm more interested in building policies for these things. And so we talked about like to like policies. So policies for within policy groups and micro-segmentation policies. So an example of this would be IP phones to other IP phones. They should be able to talk to each other, but only on specific ports and protocols, not everything. We shouldn't allow full communication between the two of them, right? So all you have to do is hover over the grid for IP phones to IP phones, click it, and bam, it creates the source destination for you, and even tells you what's been detected from an IP phone perspective. And then you can go here and specify your exact applications and ports and protocols you want to allow or deny in your Elisity secured network. Another good example of this that I love is printers. Printers should only really be talking to other users or talking to a print server. Printers don't need to talk to other printers. Why do we have that threat surface fully open for anybody to get in there and mess with, right? So let's take a look at printers. If I go to the search functionality here and type printers to printers, bam, you can see that actually I already have a policy that's denying printers to printers. So if I click it, you can see here, printer to printer, I'm denying all traffic. As simple as that. You can use this for anything. Another example of that would be IP cams to the internet. It's as simple as saying, I want IP cams to talk to the internet, but nothing else. You just go and find IP cameras and you build that policy. And that's it for this video. I highly recommend you check out our knowledge base at elisity.com/knowledge. You can take a look at all the documentation that we've created, how the solution is deployed, how it works, and also you can talk to us live. Click the little chat bubble down there. It'll direct you to one of us. We'll be able to answer questions. We can get on the horn with you. We can do some design discussions. We can help you implement. And if you want to do a POC, I invite you to do a POC with us because they're simple, they're easy to execute, low effort, but massive value in a short period of time. Really looking forward to hearing from you all. Thank you.